In this lesson, we're going to learn how to use a dynamic text field inside of Flash to load text from another file. So what I have set up here in my victims DOI, I've got two external elements that are loading. I've got this separate Flash, the Swift movie here that we did earlier, and now I have a dynamic text box. So I've just drawn my text box, made it dynamic, applied an instance name to it. So I've got news txt, and I also have selected a couple of parameters such as the color and type size. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and have text loaded dynamically into this area here. Now the text that I want to load up is in another file, and it's in my main Flash project file, and it's the news.txt file here. So I've just used WordPad to build in some news information here. Pay attention to some formatting as well, and I've saved this out, same file directory as news.txt. So all those items are important as we load this up dynamically. So let's jump into our code. We're going to use this code here. So we copy this, jump into Flash, and the next thing I'm going to do is apply my actions, and I'm going to apply identify two variables. So I'm going to have my news request, and in this case I'm referring to the news text or news.txt file, and then lastly I'm going to call my onComplete function, which is essentially going to load in that particular news.txt file. So I'm going to press Control Enter from this point. I'm going to wait for my animation to play out and click on Victims, and it's going to load this directly into Flash. A couple of parameters we'll take a quick look at is going back to my property inspector for my text box. You notice that you can choose the text type, the font family that you want. I've choose Garamond here to set it up. Also the type size as well as the color. Pay attention to the color when you do this, because you might have issues with, if you have white on white text, that's not going to work out. And then I've selected to show border around text. If I did not have that, then when I tested this out, I'd have something like that. So having that white border really really helps out. So I'm going to make sure that that's on. And then you can also adjust some spacing, some line spacing here to make that a little bit tighter in terms of your text and how you want your text to behave. Do you want single line, multi-line? How do you want that to behave inside the text box? So as you make those changes, then I'm pressing Control Enter, and then I'm going to click on that, and it's going to have my changes there in tow with the Garamond, which is different from what I have in my text file. One thing too to keep in mind of is I'm using device fonts, so if the system that's playing this Flash movie does not have the Garamond loaded into it, it will use the best serif font that it will find for that copy. So that's how you load text into a dynamic text box.